to none. To view our sample or to book us, call or WhatsApp on 0773 684 183 or email slymediastreaming@gmail.com.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Neti Msanu. Oh, sorry, Chief, can you just hold? They need to put there. Okay. Those with phones. Wadakunza mafoni ngatungo isaika one. All right. Okay. So we can start. We can start. So morning, my name is Neti Msanu. I'm the director from SASA Projects. I'm also the chair of the GBV cluster within the Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe. I just want to take the opportunity to welcome all of you to this very important press conference that we are having as the Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe. I want to introduce the Women's Coalition Chair, Ronika Mumbire, and next to her is Salim Mure and our moderator Abigail Kamanya. So without much ado, I will hand over to Ronika to read our statement as the Coalition of Zimbabwe.
Greetings to everyone. The Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe call on duty bearers with a mandate to end all forms of gender-based violence to commission an inquiry on sexual abuse allegations made against Walter Magaya of PhD Ministries. The allegations of sexual violence in circulation on social media and mainstream media in the past weeks have caused public alarm, resulting in a wave of anxiety, insecurities by women in church spaces, and speculations around contact of church leaders. Equally disturbing is the series of videos and images in circulation where the women who had initially reported violations are withdrawing their reports through the same platforms. This raises questions around credibility of allegations, public confusion, and backlash. Given the fact that Zimbabwean society is largely religious, it is of public interest that the allegations leveled against Ms. Magaya be taken with the urgency and seriousness it deserves. As the Magaya allegations have caused public interest and alarm among the women of Zimbabwe, the society and the society at large, Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe therefore calls upon the following: that the Zimbabwe Republic Police, Zimbabwe Gender Commission, Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, Anti-Corruption Commission, and other relevant stakeholders to commission an inquiry into Mr. Walter Magaya and his church in order to establish the truth behind the allegations. That the Parliament of Zimbabwe develops a regulatory framework that ensures that there is human rights oversight and safeguarding in churches. We are also calling on women and girls who have been sexually abused to come forward as women's rights organizations. We commit to provide support, security, and ensure the cases are reported and followed up with the Zimbabwe Republic Police. That church leaders ensure safeguard mechanisms are in place to safeguard women and girls in the church space. Also, that church congregates exercise collective oversight of the church space to ensure human rights are upheld. That is being a sister's keeper. That the media put on the line spot on issues on gender-based violence and sexual abuse from a victim safeguarding approach. They also continue raising awareness to give confidence to victims and sexual abuse, to report and ensure coverage of sexual abuse, uphold and dignity of victims. The general populace to desist from the practice of vilifying and denigrating women who speak out against sexual violence. And also that people with information to contribute to investigations to come forward and speak out. We all have a role to play to create the Zimbabwean society where women and girls' rights are respected, and we remain ready and available to support all initiatives to end all forms of violence against women and girls. I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Our chair, Ms. Veronica Mumbire. We will now take questions from colleagues from the media. Please state your name, your media house, or wherever you're writing. We will take maybe 3 questions and then we'll proceed from there.
My name is Lucia Singh. I'm a freelance journalist. People are wondering why it's taken so long to come up with such kind of a position.
Okay, next one.
My name is Brenda from the Herald. And I wanted to find out from the law, what does it say in terms of people reporting cases and then they withdraw before anything has been done to it? What does it say? And then the other question is in the police. The police are saying no one has come up with has reported a case so far. How then do they proceed in terms of the commitment inquiry that you are recommending?
Thank you, Brenda. Any other question? Is that a question? Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yes, my name is Pamela. I'm a freelance journalist. I'd like to just ask, why is it that all these women that are coming up with these rape allegations end up asking for money instead of justice?
Okay, thank you, Pam. I could start why we've taken long. I don't think we have taken long. Some of us, we have received complaints in the past. And most of the cases have taken a similar route. So we've had women coming to MSASA, for example, and reporting. And the moment you want to then follow through the justice system, they become very hostile. And so it was a deliberate effort where we're trying to reach out to women, to support them outside the public eye. And we had hoped that that would then at least get some cases that would go through. But it's regrettable that a lot of them ended up deciding to withdraw, or to then turn out and say, in some cases, we then get feedback from relatives that they've been paid, they've been given money, or they've been sent out of the country. And so I think what the media needs to appreciate is that in cases like this, sometimes you want to take a multi-pronged approach. In some cases, you actually want to protect the identity of the victims. You also don't want to create a lot of storm so that they get confidence. But so far, it has proved fruitless, and this is why we've then taken a decision to then come and at least appeal to women out there to come forward. And as our statement says, we want to commit to handhold them throughout the process. And then I think the question around reporting and withdrawing, unfortunately, you have a right to report, you also have a right to, it's always our frustration, where you support someone throughout the whole process, and then when it comes to the actual reporting. In some cases, they've actually reported. So I'm not sure whether it's true that there's not anyone that has reported, because I am aware of some that actually decided that they wanted to report and were a bit frustrated along the way. But I'm not at liberty to talk about the names.
Okay, any additions from the floor?
Okay, just to add to what Nettie has said on the issue of taking long to respond, to say at times when things happen, there are also other interventions that are done behind the scenes. And this is one of them where these other interventions have taken us to this platform where we are now. So it doesn't mean things have not been happening. A lot of things have been happening behind the scenes, including getting in touch with other key stakeholders like the Gender Commission, the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commissions and all. So yes, we may think it has taken long, but when such things happen, as a women's organization, we actually come together and start to strategize. And you may not see some of the interventions in the public, but things will be happening.
I also wish to bring to your attention that Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe, since the circulation started, reached out to support some that came forward for support, various forms of support, from legal support, psychosocial support, including extending it to the families of women who have been affected. And there have also been various internal consultations and engagements with our membership for them to come up with how they wanted to respond to the issue. We have also been monitoring the situation online and offline and in the communities to really get to understand and come up to understand what was the situation and what is the issue. So after the monitoring of the context, the realities and the surrounding circumstances of the case, we then had the membership of the coalition resolving that they were going to come forward. And there have been also engagements with key stakeholders, which we wish to confirm that the Zimbabwe Republic Police, the police general headquarters have responded to us today and then acknowledged our submissions, and they've also committed to ensure that their victim-friendly unit work with us. So there have been engagements with the independent commissions, there have been engagements with the Zimbabwe Republic Police. There have been other stakeholders who have also been coming on board, and we also wish to acknowledge also the media, the role that the media have played in also bringing a spotlight to this issue. So it hasn't been long, but there have been work that have been happening, and we all take collective responsibility to make Zimbabwe a safe society for women and girls.
You may want to talk about the bulk SMS platform.
Yes, so Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe also have a bulk SMS platform, which we have also been running an outreach to women and girls who have been affected to also come forward. And we also share through the press release that we have put in the toll-free numbers that we have put in for our members from SASA, for Zwala, for others, so that there is a wide range of support, as we have committed through the statement presented by the chairperson, that women's rights organizations are ready and remain committed to support women and girls and families affected through this journey to ensure that justice is served. So regarding the question on why are women asking for money, not justice, that's the inquiry that the Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe is pushing for, to ensure that we ascertain whether it is fact and it is evident that there has been actually money that have been extended for women to withdraw, and also for the allegations around some of the Zimbabwe Republic Police with whom there have been allegations that they've also been bought. So that's the inquiry that we are collectively advocating for, which will also include the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption to then also look into the matter. So what we are calling for is an inquiry so that we establish the facts, so that we also bring truth to this situation and ensure that justice is served.
Thank you.
And then they also want to find out is there any possibility you can picket at this place, hotel or whatever, Lord, kana pakasabuda chunga and efforts about it.
Yes, Godwin.
My name is Bruno Scott. I'm a freelance journalist. Well, my issue is in retrospect to the nature of the so-called allegations. You will agree with me that some of these alleged crimes were committed in some time ago, and even the alleged victims, they are vacillatory characters in itself, and the fact that internationally and even locally we've been hearing cases of extortions and so forth. Don't you think that this could be a matter of some immoral act which could have just gone sour and not necessarily a criminal act?
Okay, thank you. Another question before they can answer?
Can I come again?
Okay.
Also, you talk of, can you also maybe comment about also the involvement of journalists? Because there have been allegations that some of our colleagues have been involved in trying to conceal this thing.
Okay, so maybe I can start on the issue of journalists being bribed. Well, again, there are allegations, and I think amongst ourselves, without putting it in black and white, we know from our own very newsrooms that so-and-so is on payroll of different people, not just Walter Magaya. And you know, what saddens me is that the media says we're a watchdog of what happens, or we're a mirror of society, and we're there to reflect what is happening. And yet we actually don't write about each other or reflect, you know, self-introspect as the media to say, are we being ethical, or are we being, are we doing the right thing? We know that there is the Voluntary Media Council of Zimbabwe, and I happen to share offices with them. To my knowledge, there hasn't been a complaint of that nature that has come to VMCZ. I don't know if anybody has sent a complaint to, you know, the Zimbabwe Media Commission. But what we know for sure is that the media is not in support as an industry to journalists being bribed. I've spoken to some and they've said, look, it's just a reflection of the times where we're grossly underpaid, and you have to do what you need to do in order to survive. But that does not make it right, because one rotten egg just makes all of us, you know, look bad. So we're not better off than Magaya Wacho, because we are fueling you know, whatever he's doing. Because if the police are being bribed, the journalists are being bribed, are we doing justice, you know, to the woman folk in Zimbabwe? I was talking to one journalist before this press conference where I was saying, imagine this could be your sister, your cousin, you know, your own child. Until it happens on your doorstep, then you find people now to try and see, you know, what we can do. We must expose this guy. But if it's happening to somebody's child, it's another story. But what I'm just trying to say is, I think we need to change our attitude and our perceptions towards girls. Because in our own circles, it's obvious, and we are up to 1,500 because I've also been following the stories that we've been writing, and the perceptions that are coming across, especially on social media, where we're calling these women all sorts of names, or judging women that we don't even know. And somebody is being paid to further vilify these victims. And from our interactions, not with the victims, but with women in general, because this is what the media is going to do to me. The media is never quite in support of these victims. So women then tend to be media shy. I think what a colleague of mine coins jonophobia. Our women now fear the media. So I said, I story and I don't want to go to the therapy. That went up media. And if someone has followed what happened to that other lady the past few weeks, I think we just need to revise our editorial policies in how gender sensitive we can become, not just to victims of gender-based violence, but when it comes to such emotive issues like what we are dealing with. There's a specific question in terms of the cases that we have handled as MSAS. I think last year there were about 5 women, and there is a trend. They are young, they are very vulnerable. their parents are also members of the church, which further stigmatizes them. So you have a young girl who's raped in the church, allegedly is raped in the church, but there's no support system around her because the families are said to still be members of the family, of the church. So in terms of whether we've engaged the prophets, I think as a coalition we do not see the value. If the cases against him are indeed true and they are proved to be true, he's a perpetrator who needs to be jailed. So in terms of engaging him, we didn't see any value in doing that. And of course, in terms of the picketing, I think we have been in discussions and we'll be sharing further in terms of what the coalition is planning to do around that. I understand the issue around immoral cases, immoral behaviors that have gone sour. It's very unfortunate that we've chosen to label every woman who comes up as immoral, as an extortionist, which indeed is very regrettable. And I think it is that discourages women to come up, because the moment you do, then you are labeled. For the cases that came to us, I have no reason to believe that they wanted to extort anything, because they even refused to go public. So it's not everyone, and I think also we need to we cannot judge one case, and I'm not underestimating the fact that there could be women out there who are using this to extort money, but that does not mean that every woman who is coming up, who is sharing their experience and their story is wanting some money. So I think that would be a very unfortunate conclusion to say that all women are looking for money. And so I want to agree with Abigail that it's probably also the way we are reporting. Sometimes this is why some of us would also then run away to engage with some of the cases that we have handled, because then at the end of the day, some of those women are then vilified and they are given all sorts of labels. And in terms of journalists, indeed, I think there's also an emerging pattern around some journalist media people that are said to be on his payroll, the same with the police. And I think seriously we are also then considering naming and shaming of some of those people that are alleged to be engaging in such very immoral activities.
Just also to buttress the response around the issue of the immoral behavior. One would wonder why it should be him alone facing all those accusations all the time. And the same pattern recurring over and over to say people report and they withdraw, people report and they withdraw. So because of that, it really puts the seriousness of the case on the table to say, why him? Is he the only man of God in the country? Is he the only person the only prophet? So there is really need to work around it and see and investigate what is happening with these cases.
So what Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe is calling for is an inquiry. So the findings of the inquiry also should be made public. So the findings should then also confirm if there are findings around the media being bribed, some members of the media being bribed, members of the Republic Police being bribed, the victims also being bribed. So that's the inquiry that the Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe is pushing for, to say let's subject these allegations to an inquiry and have findings and facts around the surrounding circumstances to that effect. Then when it comes to the issue of the characters of women who are reporting, rape is a crime, and it's a serious crime. It does not justify whether you are blue, black, yellow, purple. Any case, no matter how people can perceive you, no one is supposed to be raped. We can't justify rape. So people may have may interact with people who have come out in their other areas of lives, but that does not justify anyone to raping them. And Zimbabwe has taken a stance against rape to say even in marital institutions, there is marital rape and the law is there to also respond to it. So let us not be entertained by those who divert our attention to the real issue here, to start being entertained or focusing our energies on the characters of women who came out, because rape is a crime and it is a serious crime, and what Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe is calling for is an inquiry into this and an investigation so that we safeguard women and girls in the church space and also in the society at large. Thank you.
Maybe I'll take the last round of questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Magaya and I'm you have such a good initiative, but the outcome can come either way. Either it can come out to the Magaya, in case the outcome comes out that he did not rape these people. Are you, as a coalition, ready to gather us again in our magnitudes and to create a bigger buzz again to say he did not and to apologize to him? That's my question.
Tozoita izvozvo kana tazosvika paconclusion
commission ikatongoiswa an outcome either on the affirmative or not.
Okay, people, let's give him a chance to speak.
It comes out that what is being claimed to did not happen. That's what I'm saying. I always commission mafungo commission yacho haana zvakaita ikabuda yacho akane zvakaita it means he has to go to jail, which is very fine. Justice would have prevailed.
Ndofunga isa hatina kusvibisa munhu. Macases ari kubuda akazvisvibisawo, hatina kusvibisa munhu. And isusu patauya panapa hatina kumboti vaMagaya vakazviita isu. Tauya pano tichiti macases ari kubuda anoita kuti vanhu vaite worry about what's going on. And there are a lot of questions that people are asking because of those many cases that I'm sure you are aware that there was a case that had gone, that actually went through the court system, and that lady also withdrew the case. And people are just saying there is a pattern where women come out, they withdraw cases. They may be looking for money. Let the inquiry answer those questions. So we have not come here kuti tizosvibisa munhu. Tiri kuti ma cases ari kubuda are a cause for concern. So it may come out that there is nothing going on. So this is what we just want kuti whatever is happening, let be subjected to an inquiry. So apana asvibisiwa unless painati vaMagaya vakazvita.
Saka kuda inhau yokuti tataura statement yedu nechirungu, but kuti tinyatsodzikisa kuti tihwisise nhau yatadanira musangano wakaita sepano kuti titaurirani, inhau yokuti sangano reWomen's Coalition of Zimbabwe unova mubatanidzwa unomiririra nekurwira kodzero dzevanhukadzi nevanasikana muZimbabwe rati iyo kwaita nyaya iri kutenderera iri kuita kuti vanhu zvizvarwa zveZimbabwe madzimai kunyanya kuve nekusagadzikana nekusanzwisisa kuti ko zvambonyanyoita seiko kuti kuri kuita muprofita uyu ari kuita mbiri yokuti kuri kunzi nhasi kwanzi wabata vanasikana zvisakarurama panhau dzenyaya dzekubatwa zvibharo kobva kwanzi vana kana vachinge vabuda pachena kuti ndozvo vakasangana nazvo vozodzokera sure pane zvavanenge vataura. Saka nhau iri pano yashedzerwa nesangano reWomen's Coalition of Zimbabwe ndeyekuti nyaya idzi dzatenderera dzakutiita kuti tibatire ura maoko, uye isu tiri vatenderi sezvizvarwa zvenyika ino yeZimbabwe hatichazivi kuti kumachechi uku kwakambomira sei. Saka tiri kuti vane chokuita, vane mabandiko akasiyana siyana vanoita kuti nyika yedu isava nenyaya dzemhirizhonga dzinobata vanhukadzi nevanasikana kunyanya nyanya dzekubatwa zvibharo kwemadzimai nevanasikana mumakereke. Tiri kuti isusu ngapaitwe tsvagurudzo neongororo ruzhinji rweZimbabwe rugoziva kuti zvii zviri kuitika tigozvionera ipapo. Saka ndo patimire semadzimai.
Thank you. You want to it? Okay. I thought you had taken the last round. No, Danda Gotora one from him. Okay. Yeah. Danda Mirra two more.
Our call for inquiry tine time frame yacho kuti zvinofana kuitwa within such a period kana zvisina kunge zvaitika pasi next.
Okay, all right. Tanga and then she'll
I'm a freelancer. Yesterday, Chief Secretary said that no report has been made to the police. So my question is, are you working with the victims? Have you talked to the victims and found out the reasons why they haven't made such a report?
Okay. Thank you. And then...
My question is, you guys as a Women's Commission, in the debate that asked the question, no, and then my parents or my family is against that, or rather, my family has reported, like the previous story that we heard, that the family had reported and then the county lied. Are you guys in a position of making families or breaking families? Because there are certain margins that you're going to say in the event that one partner or party is lying. Where do you guys stand in breaking them or in fixing them as families? Because this is a good cause altogether, but at the end of the day, ukama ukama. And then my other part was also when somebody is popular, is it not just a vulnerability that people could just come up and say, look, let's try this. I don't know where.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, let me start with that last one. I want to believe he's not the only popular person in Zimbabwe. There are many prophets, very popular. Why him? And this is why we want this inquiry. Why is it just him? Why having a consistent pattern of cases coming up with drawing, and a pattern of the, the target groups are almost similar. So we are not saying he has done it, but we are just saying questions need to be answered because he is not the only popular with money in Zimbabwe. There are many people who are even more popular and with more money than the prophet. I also just want to make it very clear that we cannot judge the fact that cases have not happened because there are no cases that have been reported. We need to understand the nature of sexual violence. It's not easy for women to report. If you follow the cases that have come out so far, the way people are judging those women, it's not possible for a married woman, for example, to come up and say, I was raped. So we need to understand, and from our experience, the fact that there are no reported cases does not mean it didn't happen. So we should never judge. We have women that will come and want psychosocial support, but will not want to report because of many reasons surrounding that case, and it is within their right to want to do so. So it's not always the case that because there is no report at the police, so it didn't happen. It may have happened, but they are choosing not to report.
In the issue of the time frame, we as the Women's Coalition, we assist with this matter, and we want this resolved as soon as possible. So one of the things that we are doing is, because we have already written letters to the relevant stakeholders, is making a quick follow-ups, as Sally reported in other response. We have responses that have come from other stakeholders. So what we then need to do is to sit down and map a way forward with the various stakeholders. And the other question that was asked, if it doesn't happen, then what next? I think that will come when we see what happens after responses from the various stakeholders, which we expect to be happening because it is their role. The various stakeholders that we have mentioned are not, it is not the work that is outside their mandate. It is work that is within their mandate, and we expect them to do to action. Whatever form of action then will guide us to say what else then do we need to do. I also want to respond on the issue of the readiness to apologize to Prophet Magaya. We are not ready to apologize for anything because we have not accused him of anything. We are just saying let the inquiry go on. If he is not guilty of anything, it's okay. If he is guilty of anything, of something, then the law should just take its course and justice should prevail. Then on the issue of families and that you talked about, remember we also mentioned that we are ready to work through with the victims and also be able to assist them if they are willing to report, take them through the process. But also, we are also in the process behind the scenes to be able to assist in line with issues to do with psychosocial support, so that we support the where we have challenges within the families or the communities that we are working with.
Let me just add to say it is never our intention to separate people, and this is not the way we work. And the reason why I said there's a lot of work that goes on until a case finds itself even at the police station is simply that, because we are trying to reconcile, but to ensure that families are able to protect victims along the way. So that process, this is why our organizations have counselors, and also it's not just a matter of getting someone and taking them to the police. It's also looking at what is surrounding them. And in some cases, there may be cases where there may not be agreement between a girl and the family in terms of whether to report or not to report. We are guided by the needs of the victim. And especially if they are an adult, we are guided by the needs of the victim. And of course, we'll take mechanisms to ensure that at the end of it all, we are able to reconcile families and they support them throughout the process.
So this is also one of the many interventions that we are going to be working around as Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe. So we will be updating you as we move, because as we advocate and engage various stakeholders, if our submissions and our advocacy engagements are also not met with agency and responsiveness from various duty bearers, we'll be taking necessary action that works within the mandate of the particular stakeholders that we are engaging with. So as members of the media and other stakeholders, we will also ensure that we will be periodically briefing you on where we are at and the actions that we are taking, should we also not get responsiveness in terms of the agency that we have expressed in this inquiry. Then the second thing to inquire, to also update, is to also say, from us, when we deal with women and girls who come forward, we just don't focus on them alone, because it is not just about them. So our members have also been ready and available to ensure that they also have a family-centered approach to how we support survivors of all forms of violence. So there are also psychosocial support mechanisms that target the families, because sometimes where we have had disconnections within families, it's also because there is also different understanding of what it means to actually access justice. So for families to support, they also require access to information, access to support, to ensure that justice is seen through the whole process. So we do not exist to disrupt the family unit. We respect family unit and we support it, but we acknowledge that all members of the family have to be on board, and they also have to go through psychosocial support, legal counsel, so that we can give a comprehensive response to supporting the survivors of violence.
All right, thank you everyone. I'm sure you will continue interacting with our panel outside this room. I will now hand over to Neti for the closing remarks. Yes, thank you, and just remains for me to thank you all as members of the press, and just to share our toll-free numbers. So we've got the Women's Coalition toll-free number, which is 0808 0230, Musasa 08080074, and Swala 08080131. Just to thank you very much for coming, and I want to end by saying collectively we can end rape and sexual violence against women, and in particular in churches. Thank you very much. Thank you. A copy of the release.
Lighthouse. Lighthouse, a division of Sly Media, are available at your disposal for your wedding videos and pictures. Our experience is second to none. To view our sample or to book us, call or WhatsApp on 0773 684 183 or email slymediastreaming@gmail.com. Lighthouse, a division of Sly Media, are available at your disposal for your wedding videos and pictures. Our experience is second to none. To view our sample or to book us, call or WhatsApp on 0773 684 183 or email slymediastreaming@gmail.com. Lighthouse, a division of Sly Media, are available at your disposal for your wedding videos and pictures. Our experience is second to none. To view our sample or to book us, call or WhatsApp on 0773 684 183 or email slymediastreaming@gmail.com.